Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are off to a fantastic start. We've got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day and a new week comes plenty of new opportunities to make some money. So, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're handing out winners on top of winners on top of winners, and the best part of it all is that all of my picks, all of our picks here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel are 100% free. So go ahead, make sure to subscribe. You're not going to want to miss it. Like I said, we've been red hot on the MLB Player Prop video series, cashing and cashing and cashing and more cashing. We have 4 picks for tonight's MLB slate. But first, before we dive into today's video, let's go ahead and see how we did last week. And like I said, guys, we have been on the money lately. 15-7 overall record last week. We did end the week on a little bit of a sour note with our Freaky Friday parlay, although 3 out of 5 legs did hit on that parlay. So not a terrible week overall, though. 15-7, pretty solid, I would say. 130-87 record on the year. I actually think that's actually insane. We've been so hot this year. 130 wins, 87 losses on our props this season. We have been killing it all year long. So, guys, one more time, if you haven't already, just hit that subscribe button. What are you doing? Let's just keep the good times rolling here, folks. Let's get some more money. Let's speak it into existence. Another solid week, another great week of MLB Player Props. Guys, 4 picks for tonight's slate. No more lollygagging. Let's get right into it. Jumping right into the Outlier screen, guys. Shout out to Outlier, the best sports betting tool on the market. We do offer a special link down below that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to check Outlier out for yourself. Now, guys, with football coming up, with baseball, we're now coming towards closer and closer to the playoffs and the end of the regular season. You got to have the proper sports betting tool by your side if you want to make money in sports betting. And Outlier is the best sports betting tool that money can buy. It consolidates all of the data that you need to make smart betting choices all in one easy, convenient, and nice to look at place. Again, guys, 7-day free trial with the link down below. Again, you don't lose anything except maybe some of your time, and even then, I don't think it's a waste of time at all. You try for 7 days. In the event that you don't like it, you can go ahead and cancel. No cost you at all. But guys, I promise you, you're going to love Outlier. One more time, link down below, 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. Shout out to Outlier for sponsoring today's video. All right, guys, our first of 4 props from today's slate, we're targeting the Royals-Guardians game, 1:10 p.m. first pitch. A little early start, so if you guys are watching this video when it pops out at 10:45 a.m. Eastern time, try to hop on this as soon as you can if you plan on riding. We have Tyler Freeman under a half a total base. We're getting that for -101 on Caesars, -105 on DraftKings, -105 on Bet365, and -120 on Underdog. As always, guys, make sure to shop around for the best sportsbook odds available. And I won't lie to you, folks, the data is pretty special for this prop. You see, 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under with an average of just 0.1 total base for him. He hit a single back on August 17th versus the Brewers, but has not gotten a hit since then. Even if you go ahead and stretch that data out to the last 20 games, 17 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the under with an average of just 0.25 total bases per game. A lot of hitless nights, a lot of hitless days for Tyler Freeman of late. Only 3 games since July 25th has he actually registered a base hit. So it hasn't been great for him, but for us, it's really good. Again, kind of messed up that we prey on people's downfalls here, but that's the business of sports betting. It's not for the weak of heart. That's for true. That's for sure. That's for true. Maybe turn that into a new saying. Who knows? Current season data so far for Tyler Freeman, a 53% hit rate on this under. 57 out of 107 games this year. He's cashed the under, an average of 0.97 total bases per game. Overall in the season, it's not as bad. You do see quite a few more red there, which obviously are hits for him. It's just of late, you see a lot of empty spots. There's a lot of misses, like we said, over the last 20 games or so. Looking at the head-to-head data, you see 5 of his last 10 matchups with the Kansas City Royals. He has cashed the under, averaging 1 total base per game. But the thing that's important to us here is that 4 of his last 5 meetings with the Royals, he's cashed the under, including 3 consecutive matchups with Kansas City. He's played them 6 times so far this year and cashed the under in 4 out of 6 games. So this year's data, pretty promising in the head-to-head department. Looking down below, the insights provided by Outlier, Tyler Freeman has failed to exceed half a base in 6 straight games at home, an average of 0 bases per game average over that span. Look at the head-to-head data versus Cole Reagan's 5 plate appearances, 250 batting average since 2018. Not terrible, just 1 hit off of him in 5 plate appearances. So far, Tyler Freeman, a 208 batting average this year, but versus left-handed pitchers, it gets even worse to 183. It's 130 plate appearances, so a pretty decent sample size there. A 183 average, really bad, 202 BIP. Now, his extra base hit percentage does increase to 45%, but he's not really making enough contact with the ball to get the ball in play. And again, looking at the matchup here with Cole Reagans, 331 ERA overall, 220 batting average allowed versus right-handed batters. It actually improves in a lot of categories. The ERA does take a slight jump to 341, but the batting average allowed drops to 203. The slugging percentage drops to 340. The extra base hit percentage, a slight increase to 37.6. Those numbers are a little high. It was a little scary, but again, the batting average allowed 203 and the batting average for Tyler Freeman 183. The fact that he hasn't been getting a lot of hits lately, I see this as a pretty much guaranteed under. You can't really say guaranteed, but it feels like a really safe under here to bet for almost even odds. I really do like the spot here for Tyler Freeman. All right, guys, our second prop of today's slate, we're going with the hottest hitter over the last 10 games or so, Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees in the Yankees-Nationals game, 6:45 p.m. first pitch. We're going Judge over 1.5 total bases. You might think this is cheating. Maybe it is because it's so simple. But you know what, guys? It's my video series. I decide what goes on here. It fits the laws, right? My rule is always minus 150 or better. Minus 140 on DraftKings right now. Minus 137 on Caesars. Only FanDuel and Underdog, they go over minus 150. But listen, I'm going to keep betting until the wheels fall off. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over with a whopping average of 4.3 total bases per game. Yesterday versus Colorado, he had 8 total bases and was a 10-3 win for the Yankees. Over the last 20 games, like I said, he's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball of late. 70% hit rate over his last 20 games, 14 of his last 20, with an average of 3.35 total bases per game average. That's absolutely insane. Not all that surprising, though, when you see he's on pace for over 60 home runs this year. I believe after yesterday, he's at 50 or 51, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's either 50 or 51. But the moral of the story being, with his current rate, he's on pace for over 60 home runs this year for the Yankees. So far this year, you see a 54% hit rate on the over. 70 out of 129 games, he's cashed it. With an average of 2.62 total bases per game. Again, you see the right side of the screen. From this point on, basically from July 13th, July 12th, all the way through now, so much green. He's been a cashing machine on this over. Look at the insights provided by Outlier. Aaron Judge has exceeded 1.5 bases in 11 of his last 13 games, an average of 4.2 total bases per game average over that span. Really good numbers there for Judge. He's batting .333 overall versus left-handed pitchers. Again, there's a decrease, but it's actually been increasing. He's batting .312 off of left-handed pitchers, although it's a decrease from his overall numbers. It's still really, really good. His ISO is .468. His extra base hit percentage is a whopping 61.8% off of left-handed pitchers. That's the highest mark I've seen so far this year. 61.8% is absolutely crazy. We don't really have a ton of pitching data here for Mitchell Parker of the Nationals, but you look at the right side of the screen here. 7-7 record overall this year, 4.25 ERA. Not very good, although 7.63 strikeouts per 9 is not terrible. And although Outlier does not show it, he's giving up a .253 batting average allowed against hitters overall this year. Mitchell Parker is with a .411 slugging percentage overall. We don't have a ton of data to go off of there for Mitchell Parker, but that's what the data I did find on Baseball Reference. Shout out Baseball Reference. So yeah, minus 140 odds. We're going to go ahead and keep betting this. He's been red hot. I'm going to keep betting until he doesn't get it. So minus 140, great value in my opinion. And guys, we're about to hit the 8-minute mark in today's video. So comment 8 down below if you are still watching at this point. Again, thank you to everybody who always watches through the entire videos. Really do appreciate it. We do put a lot of work into our videos here at Guy Boston Sports. So thank you to those who watch all the way through. So if you're still watching at this point, go ahead and drop 8 down below in the comments. All right, guys, next up, our third prop of today's slate. We're moving on to the Red Sox-Blue Jays game, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. You know I got to throw in some plus money plays every now and again. We got Masataka Yoshida here, over 1.5 total bases. On Bet365, plus 140, but on DraftKings, plus 125. Caesars, plus 123. Again, on DraftKings for plus 120. And FanDuel for plus 115. So a plus money play across the board. A plus money play with pretty good data. You see 7 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over for Boston, average of 2.1 total bases per game, including each of his last 2 games, he has cashed the over. Even looking at his last 20 games, pretty good. 12 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the over, an average of a 60% hit rate with an average of 2.2 total bases per game. And the head-to-head data, pretty solid as well. 11 of his last 16 matchups with the Toronto Blue Jays, including each of his last 2, he has cashed the over. He's averaging 2.38 total bases per game versus the Blue Jays. You do see he was on a little bit of a cold streak versus them. That includes the last 3 games versus last year and the first 2 games this year. But overall, pretty good numbers for Masataka Yoshida versus the Blue Jays. A 69% hit rate against Toronto. And although the season numbers don't look fantastic for Yoshi, it's because he's had a really rough start to the year. A 40% hit rate overall in the year, 32 out of 81 games. He's cashed the over, an average of 1.56 total bases per game. Again, it's mostly because over the last 20 games, over the last 20, 30 games or so, he started to pick it up. But yeah, the beginning of the year was kind of a wasteland for him in terms of the over cashing. But looking at the key matchup stats provided by Outlier, really solid data for the most part. See Yoshida versus Jose Barrios, 12 plate appearances since 2018, 500 batting average. He's got 6 hits, 10 total bases, 2 extra base hits, 833 slugging percentage off of Barrios. So really good numbers there for Yoshida. Overall this year, he's batting .293, but versus right-handed pitchers, you do see a pretty significant increase there to .324, 360 BABIP, 155 ISO. His extra base hit percentage does drop a little bit to 27.5, but I'm not too concerned about that. Looking at the Barrios side of things, his numbers are actually pretty good, which is not great for us. You see just a 208 batting average allowed versus left-handed batters, 404 slugging, which actually is still pretty high. That 39.1 extra base hit percentage is pretty promising in the 404 ERA as well. But again, I'm not too concerned about the 208 batting average allowed because, again, Yoshida's had a lot of success versus Barrios. Again, 500 batting average against him in the last 12 plate appearances since 2018. That's in his entire MLB career, really. So really good numbers head-to-head. Overall, the data is fantastic. For plus money, yeah, I'm absolutely riding with this prop. All right, guys, and for the fourth and final prop of today's slate, we're moving on to the Braves-Twins game, 7:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Bailey Ober of the Minnesota Twins, under 5.5 hits allowed. This is available on Caesars for -140, 145, DraftKings -150, and BetMGM for -160. And again, guys, really good data on this prop as well. You see 8 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over. It's an average of 3.7 hits allowed per game over the last 10 games, That's an 80% hit rate on the under. Jesus Christ. Under. Sorry about that, guys. Beginning of the week. It's Monday for me, too. I hate Mondays just like Garfield. But 8 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the under, an 80% hit rate, an average of 3.7 hits allowed per game. Only 2 times in the last 10 games versus Texas on August 15th and versus Detroit on July 4th, on the 4th of July, that he cashed the over in hits. Even if you go ahead and look at the last 20 games, it's pretty good. 13 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the under, a 65% hit rate with an average of 4.35 hits allowed per game. And so far in 2024, a 67% hit rate on the under. 16 out of 24 starts this year, he's cashed the under with an average of 4.33 hits allowed per game. Look at the right side of the screen. Really solid data for Bailey Ober. You see 12-5 record overall this year, 3.54 ERA overall, 9.32 strikeouts per 9. Really solid data for the most part for Ober. The insights provided by Outlier, Bailey Ober has failed to exceed 5.5 hits allowed in 10 of his last 13 games at home. He's averaging 4.1 hits allowed per game average at home over that 13-game span. He does go a lot of innings. Typically, again, he averages 6 innings per game. Sorry, guys. I really do apologize for all these slip-ups here. 6 innings per game this season is his average. You go back up here to the season total. Again, 6 innings per game average for him this year. So he usually stays in there for quite a while. So him having a 67% hit rate on the year despite pitching all those innings is actually pretty impressive overall. You see Atlanta batting versus right-handed pitchers. Now, on the season, the data is pretty good. You see 237 overall. That is bottom half in the league. But over the last 30 games, they have gotten better. They're now 13th in the majors, 248 batting average. So Atlanta, the bats are finally starting to wake up for the Braves of late. But overall, on the season, the data is not fantastic in their favor, which is obviously good for us here. 24.5% strikeout rate overall. It's 26th in the majors. Not very good. But again, over the last 30 games, you do see improvement at 24.2. Slight improvement, but that is the 18th mark in the league. Still bottom half. Still bottom half. They're actually gotten a little bit worse in terms of their ranking in BABIP, and their hard hitting percentage has decreased, but still in the top half of the league. But looking at Bailey Ober, the numbers are fantastic. He's in the 91st percentile in batting average allowed, 204. His BIBIP, 94th percentile, 80th percentile in strikeout rate with 26.3. So yeah, pretty solid data overall, guys. I really do like this for the fourth and final prop of today's slate. All right, guys, so one more time. Those are all 4 picks for today's slate. Quick little recap there. We have Tyler Freeman under half a base, Masataka Yoshida over 1.5 bases, Bailey Ober under 5.5 hits, and Aaron Judge over 1.5 bases. Again, the link for these picks will be in the description as well as the pinned comment to make it very easy for you guys to go ahead and follow along. But guys, that does it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I will be back tomorrow with another MLB player prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. I hope we're all winners. Let's win some money. Let's keep the good times rolling here. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.